Hello everyone! Welcome to this video lesson. I am Mama Liza and we're going to talk about the subsets of real numbers. For our objectives, at the end of the lesson, students are expected to first, describe and illustrate the real number system. Second, compare the different subsets of real number. And lastly, classify a real number as a natural, whole, integer, irrational, and rational numbers. Are you ready? Come on and let's begin our numberful journey. Let's have an activity. Activity 1, look around. 15 different words or partitions of numbers are hidden in this puzzle. How many can you find? Look up, down, across, backward, and diagonally. Figures are scattered around and will serve as clues to help you locate the mystery words. So here are the clues. Okay, I want you to pause the video for 5 minutes and look for the mystery words. Okay, so let us now answer. Okay, so we have natural, counting, fraction, zero, rational, irrational, integer, non-integer, whole, negative, positive, decimal, percent, real, and numbers. Okay, I want you to answer the following questions. Number 1, how many words in the puzzle are familiar to you? Okay, next. Number 2, what word or words have you encountered in your early years? And last, what word or words is or are still strange to you? Let us now talk about the subsets of real numbers. So we have natural or counting numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, and irrational numbers. So, the most basic type of classification of numbers are the natural or counting numbers. And this is the symbol that we use to represent them. Natural or counting numbers are numbers we use in counting things. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Now, natural or counting numbers do not include 0 or any negative number as well as any decimal. Therefore, this is the innermost classification of numbers. The next layer of numbers are the whole numbers. Whole numbers can often be denoted using this symbol. These are the numbers consisting of the set of natural or counting numbers and 0. So for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So, instead of starting from 1, whole numbers start from 0. The next classification of numbers are called integers, which can be denoted using this symbol. Integers include whole numbers and the negative of counting or natural numbers. So for example, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. But then again, integers do not include decimals or fractions. There are also numbers that are non-integers. These numbers consist of fractions that can be written as terminating and non-terminating repeating decimal. Ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng terminating and non-terminating and repeating decimal? Okay, a terminating decimal is a decimal that has digits that end. For example, 2.1 and 19.2. So as you can see, nag-end siya sa 1 and sa 2. How about a non-terminating and repeating decimal? A non-terminating repeating decimal is a decimal number that continues infinitely with repeated pattern. For example, so 1.666 and 0.27777 and so on. So dito, sa example natin, yung 6 continuous siya na nagre-repeat. Same din dito sa 7. The next classification of numbers are called rational numbers, which can be denoted using this symbol. Rational numbers are numbers that can be expressed as a quotient of two integers, a over b, where b is not equal to 0. This set includes fractions and sum of decimal numbers. So for example, we have -1/3, 0.25, 9/3, and 2. So, yung 0.25 is equal to 1/4. And 1 and 4 are both integers. While 2 is equal to 2 over 1. 2 and 1 are both integers. Now, there is another set of numbers that is not within any of these. And we can call these numbers irrational numbers, which can be denoted using this symbol. These are all real numbers that are not rational numbers and cannot be expressed as a fraction. An example of irrational numbers would be pi and square root of 2. We know that pi is a never-ending number that does not repeat with a constant decimal, and this is what makes it a rational number. Square root of 2 also turns out to be a rational number since it cannot be expressed as a fraction. And lastly, the definition of real numbers is the last classification that we will talk about. Real numbers are simply all the rational numbers and irrational numbers combined. Examples: -1, 0, 3/5, 1, square root of 2, pi, 6.35, and 273. So, pay closely attention to how certain number sets are literally in the other set. But just remember that even though all natural numbers are also integers, we cannot say that all integers are natural numbers. The same applies to the rest of the layers of classification that we learned. Now, it's your turn. Try to answer the following activities. Activity 2. Let us talk about the various subsets of real numbers. In early years, what subset of real numbers do children learn at an early stage when they were just starting to talk? What is the answer? Okay, the answer is natural or counting numbers. Next, in school at an early phase, what do you call the subset of real numbers that includes 0, the real number that represents nothing, and is combined with the subset of real numbers learned in the early years? What is the answer? Okay, so the answer is whole numbers. Next, still in school at middle period, what do you call the subset of real numbers that includes negative numbers that came from the concept of opposites and specifically used in describing depth or below zero temperature and is united with the whole numbers? What is the answer? So the answer is integers. Next, still in school at middle period, what do you call the subset of real numbers that includes integers and non-integers and are useful in representing concepts like half-gallon of milk? What is the answer? Okay, so the answer is rational numbers. And last, still in school at middle period, what do you call the subset of real numbers that is not a rational number but are physically represented like the diagonal of a square? What is the answer? Okay, so the answer is irrational numbers. Okay, for activity 3, determine what set of numbers will represent the following situations. Number 1, finding out how many students are there in Camarines Sur National High School. So what subset of real numbers? Okay, so the answer is counting numbers. Next, number 2, corresponds to no more pili nuts inside the jar. So what subset of real numbers? Okay, so the answer is whole numbers. Number 3, describing the temperature in North Pole during winter. What is the answer? Okay, so the answer is integers. Why? So, paano nyo ba i-describe yung temperature sa North Pole? 'Di ba minsan nagde-negative siya? So, the answer is integers. Okay, next. Number 4, representing the amount of money each child gets when 200 pesos is divided among 3 children. So, what subset of real numbers? Okay, so the answer is rational numbers. And number 5, finding the ratio of the circumference to the diameter of a circle denoted pi. So the answer is irrational numbers. So, the classification of numbers might seem random, but they will be used over and over again. So it will be well worth of your time to learn it thoroughly right away. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching and hope to see you in the next video lesson.